What's up everybody, Neo Legend Strider here with another Warframe video, and today we're going to be talking about Warframe specters, the ones that you can have custom loadouts for, the ones you can equip certain weapons for, and use them in your gear wheel here, like having the Charge Spectre, Shield Osprey Specters, all the other different specters and everything. The main focus is the ones that have stars above their heads. The Force Spectre here, the Vapor Specters, the ones that you get from rescue missions. You'll notice sometimes you'll get Spectre blueprints whenever you complete a rescue mission. Now, a lot of people don't use them because they don't realize the effectiveness of them. You know, you might use a Shield Osprey Spectre to help increase your shield, or you use a Ancient Healer Spectre to increase your healing rate, because you get that. You get the Osprey Spectre from the Cephalon Suda faction, and you get the Ancient Healer Spectre from New Loka faction. You get the Lancer Spectre from the Arbiters of Hexus faction, and so on and so forth. You get different Spectres from different factions. But the ones you get from the rescue missions, when you make a custom loadout of the Warframe that you want to duplicate, you choose certain weapons and a certain frame. Now, a thing to note is your weapons and your frames are not affected by mods. The clone, the Spectre, it's not affected by mods or anything. So you can equip all these, have all these great builds and everything in your weapons and your frame, but the Spectres, unfortunately, are not affected by it. Now, you might be wondering, well, what's the star mean? What do the star levels mean for each of the Spectres that you get from the rescue missions? We've got 1, 2, 3, and 4. The stars determine the level that the Spectre spawns whenever you throw it out. Like, say if the enemy is at level 35, if it's the 1-star Spectre, it's 3 levels above that. The 2-star Spectre, it's 5 levels above that. 3-star Spectre, 10 levels above that, and 4-star, I believe, is 15. That scale may be wrong. Check the Warframe wiki. I could be wrong about that. But another thing to note is, whichever frame you choose to make a duplicate of, check the wiki again. Like, I hate to say to check the wiki, but it's such a huge list for when you make a duplicate frame, a duplicate Spectre, that every frame, like every single frame, it uses a different assortment of abilities. Like, every Spectre that you make, they don't use all 4 abilities. Banshee uses all 4 of her abilities. Harrow, his first ability, which I believe is called Condemn, he uses Penance, and he uses the 4th, which I can't remember what it is, but you guys get the idea. Now, I choose Banshee. Personally, I choose Banshee because of her second ability, Sonar. Now, when you use Sonar, it makes a weak point show up on the enemy, and to where you do a lot more damage. I mean, the Spectres, everything is base. It's their base health, their base shields, their base power, strength, range, efficiency, and duration, and all that. That's all base. It all stays at 100% because it's not affected by mods. But even so, a Banshee Spectre that you make that uses the Sonar ability, that's still a pretty good damage buff. So say if you have a team comprised of 4 people and you're all using Banshee Spectres, all the Banshee Spectres are using Sonar along with Silence and Soundquake, some pretty good damage, some pretty good CC. So that's what I personally like to stick with. But I mean, you can make a Hero Spectre, you can make an Ember Spectre, you can make a Frost Spectre, but just look up what abilities they use first on the wiki before you decide to make it. Now, as for the preferred weapons that you choose for your frame, for your Spectre that you decide to make a duplicate of, I chose the Toncore and the Prisma Angstrom. Spectres do not take self-damage from explosive weapons, so you can equip the Ogress and the other explosive weapons. There's just so many freaking weapons in Warframe, you guys know that. But from what I read, the Opticore and bows and arrows and everything, they actually don't work really well, because I think it's actually currently bugged. I'm not sure if I don't think they fixed it yet, to where like they won't hold the charge. They'll just like they'll get halfway through it and they'll just kind of stand there with a bow and arrow drawn, or the Opticore drawn, but they won't charge it up. They'll just kind of sit there. They'll use their abilities, but they'll just sit there and do nothing. Now, I had went into a defense earlier and threw out every single specter that was in my gear wheel. I went to the void. I only did the first 5 waves, but I had 6 specters out in the field, and I was keeping an eye on the pod health. It didn't get touched once. In the 5 waves, it did not get touched once. They act as bullet sponges. They're there to help distract the enemy, take fire off of you, take some pressure off of you, and they're a lot more useful than I think they are. So, I'm going to go into a mission real quick and throw out my Banshee Spectre, and I'll show you guys that the Spectres actually do use their abilities. They don't use them to the best of their ability, haha, pun pun, but they use them somewhat frequently. And actually, the stars also affect how much energy they have. The 1 star has 25 energy, 2 star has 50 energy, 3 star has 75 energy, 4 star has 100 energy. And I'm going to go into the void real quick, do a void defense. I'll show you guys. Alright, one thing I want you all to note, Frost's Frost Bubble, it does stack. It goes up to 1,000,000 health before the stacking stops. So you can actually spam this all day as long as the fire doesn't pop it. But you can spam it all day, stack like 20 frost bubbles on top of each other, and it'll actually die off a lot slower. Now I'm going to throw out the Banshee Spectre real quick. And we're just going to watch her for a second and watch her use the abilities. See, she just used silence right there. Even though her aim kind of sucks. And see, she just used sonar right there. So now there should be enemies around with weak points. Yep. There's a weak point on this Corrupted Butcher right here. And now she's using Soundquake. So yeah, these guys are actually a lot more useful than people think they are. So you could always go to a few rescue missions, farm them up, make a bunch of Banshee Specters. If you want to do some extra damage. But yeah, these guys are a lot more useful than people think they are. Because if you have a 4-man team, everybody using Specters, especially if you got a full gear wheel full of Specters, they act as a much bigger bullet sponge, and they protect the pod a lot easier. I mean, you don't have to do a defense. This is just an example if you're doing a defense, but you can do it if you're doing survival, if you're like tucked in one corner, if you're trying to go for like a 3-hour run, or if you're doing excavation. Well, no, I wouldn't do excavation actually, because you have to move around too much, and the AI for these things are not that bright. So yeah, interception, survival, and defense, they're very, very useful. I see that Banshee's trying to hit this picture up top, but she can't. You don't have to use a blast weapon. I just prefer the blast weapons because it's another form of CC. You use a blast weapon, these guys are going to get knocked on their butts. But yeah, other than that, there's not much else to say about these guys other than depending on which frame you use, you can like do certain frame combinations or everything. I've seen people use Nidus Specters, Hero Specters. I prefer my Banshee Spectre. I've seen Bolt Specters and Frost Specters, but like I said, go to the wiki before you make the Spectre and see which abilities they use, because not every Spectre uses every single ability in their arsenal. And just remember, they're not affected by mods. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, please post them in the comments below. I hope you guys found this video really helpful, and I'll see you all later. Neo Legend Strider, out.